1999, you were considered free, but you were also free game to a slave catcher that thinks you might have been a fugitive from down south, but you were born in New York. Just like who? Solomon Northup. You see?
It says, for those slaves who were not free, many tried to escape, many were unsuccessful, and greatly suffered upon recapture.
They suffered being, they didn't just take them and say, all right, hey, come on. They beat them, you know, they damaged them. They had the dogs, you know, beating them. They burned them. Some of them, they didn't come back alive. And the only reason they did come back alive is because they wanted their money. Not because they're like, we need to, you know, preserve his life. It's because you ain't going to get your money. You see? So what they do? Well, then, all right, well, we killed the real slave. Let's go find another one. Let's go find one that looks like him. You know?
And it says, however, over 100,000 who were successful with the help of black and white abolitionists, and most often following harrowing journeys on the Underground Railroad, a network of secret routes and safe houses to escape to free states.
And here's one. Here's the first stop when you got to Rochester. If you made it through all that and you were able to get to New York, past New York, and then when you got to Rochester, this land where we're standing on is the first station that you will go to, all right? And it was called Station Zion, okay? There was the Underground Railroad, but there was different stations. And here's Station Zion, that now the Lord has put the Spirit on us to stand here and bring this information out biblically to our people, to let them know you are not runaway slaves. You are Hebrew Israelites according to the curses in the Bible. And this is our history.
Right.
This is our history. And judgment will go to those that have enslaved us, murdered, raped, and robbed us. Okay? You have a precept, brother?
Yep. Leviticus 26 and verse 14. But if you will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments, and if you shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that you will not do all my commandments, but that you break my covenant, I will also do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning egg that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of the heart, and ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it.
There you go. You see, so you're going to be plagued with terror, consumption, pestilence, terrible vision, disease, all right? And then can we also get Deuteronomy 28, where your children, you'll have no strength, and they pull and take them from you?
A little more.
Yep.
It says, and I will set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies, and they that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursue.
Yep. And what's the Levi? With the pants, they have the emblem of the horses.
Yep, Levi jeans.
Yeah, Levi jeans.
You want to go into that?
They pretty much got the what they would do. They would tie Jake up to two horses, and they would beat him, and they would run, and they would pull you apart.
Yeah.
Pretty much pull you to pieces.
They would tar and feather you, you know, buck break you.
I believe that's actually the buck breaking, but you know,
Yep.
Esau being the sick that he is.
Yep. And they want to get the also one with your children. You want to keep reading?
Yep. It says Canada, Mexico, and overseas, with the aid of abolitionists and allies who were sympathetic to the slaves' cause. Legend has it that in 1831, Tice Davids...
Oh, see? Tice. But I said Edward Tice, so I was a little off. See? So read that again, please.
It says, legend has it that in 1831, Tice Davids, a runaway slave, fled from his owner in Kentucky. Tice swam across the Ohio River with his owner in close pursuit in a boat.
So he's swimming. See? He was swimming, and his owner, the Edomite, was behind him on a boat trying to recapture him. All right? So the mere fact that you have runaway slaves proves the condition of slavery was terrible. The condition that we went through was terrible.
It says soul destroying.
Did we read he cast off all pity?
Yep.
You want to read that? And we read it?
Another one right there.
Oh, okay. If you want to grab it, brother. You know, real quick, this is some of the treatment. It says slaves were punished by whipping, shackling, beating, mutilation, branding, imprisonment. Punishment was most often meted out in response to disobedience or perceived infractions. You couldn't even laugh. You had a laughing barrel. And it says, but masters or overseers sometimes abused slaves to assert dominance. So they would beat you just to beat you. Why do you think Tice ran away?
Man.
Read that again and get that.
It says,
Cast off all pity.
Tice reached the Ohio shore just a few minutes before his owner, but his owner could not find him and at first thought perhaps Tice had drowned, but later admitted that he had simply vanished, saying that Tice must have gone off on an underground railroad.
See, that's where they're saying that's where it came. It's not proven, but it makes sense.
Right, legend has it.
Legend has it. The Underground Railroad was just transpired by a man named Tice what?
Tice Davids.
Tice David, if you will, right? Tice David, House of David, and he escaped. And they said, man, he must have escaped through an Underground Railroad. I can't find this nigga nowhere.
He vanished.
And remember, that's how they talking. Where that nigga at? Come here, nigga girl. Where that nigga boy? Nigga, come here, nigga. Come here, nigga. Look, nigga. You know, and it's crazy. That now is our vocabulary. Come here, nigger. That's what they would say to you. And then Esau to this day has the nerve to still call you that. Damn, that's terrible, man. You got that, brother? You got one?
Isaiah 47 and verse 6. I was wroth with my people.
Beautiful.
I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand.
Yep.
Thou didst show them no mercy.
What about a little mercy? No mercy. And what did it say? Amos, cast off all pity. You see? So what's pity? Mercy. When you pity someone, you're having compassion. Oh man, you know what? Just go, run. You got it. No, they had such a high level demons on them that they just wanted to mutilate us. They didn't just kill you, they overkilled you. They didn't just hang you, they lynched you and left you. There's
lynched you, burned you, and then shot you.
Yep.
But before they lynched you, they beat you after that.
Yep. Emmett Till, you know, they still shoot his memorial to this day.
Yep.
To this day, they still shoot that. Please, a little more.
And upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
Yep. So this is what Esau's done. Now can you get Zechariah 1 and 15 really quick? Because here it is, there's free states, but here it is, he's trying to escape to a free state and he's still pursuing them with the sword, with destruction, you know? And then, Zechariah 1 and 15, please.
Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 15. I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, but they helped forward the affliction.
And we're reading it. The Fugitive Slave Act, Jim Crow, segregation. Thank you. I'm sorry. Yep. The lynch mob. How can I even forget the lynch mobs? And then that is forwarding. Is that not forwarding affliction? Yeah. Here it is. The Lord put the spirit on certain Edomites to abolish slavery. And then what did Esau do? He forwarded the affliction and said, well, I'm going to make a Fugitive Slave Act. All right. And going back, do you know Nathaniel Rochester, the man that this place is named after? He held slaves to the very last minute. Literally, to the last minute. We could actually go right into that now. I sent you the article.
Oh, yeah, I got it, yep.
Let's go from there. Was there anything you want to finish? Did you see you need to finish?
Not really.
He's good?
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to transition. I feel we've given enough information about what the Underground Railroad is. The condition that you went through, slavery. Now let's talk about one of the states that not only we are in, New York State, that's the Mecca, if you will, the genesis of the truth coming, and then the origin of New York State, and then this city. Just because we're in Rochester, this was not a free state.
Right.
Okay? And the man that they established was a slave owner. So let's read a little into this.
Now, this is off the website, democraticchronicle.com, and it says,
No, you got it, bro. You read.
It says, Rochester's founders held people in slavery, but would name changes make up for the injustice?
Yeah.
And it says, and this article is from this year, in June 29th.
And we want to add, too, this man, Nathaniel Rochester, there is a statue of him not too far from this vicinity. And on that statue, they defaced it and painted red on his hands for the blood. Then they put shame on his forehead. And then what did they put on the back?
White supremacists.
White supremacists.
That's spiritual.
Yes.
Bring this out.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. You keep reading, brother.
That's very spiritual.
All that information will go, post-production.
It says 210 years ago.
210
That's not that long ago, you know?
No.
It says Nathaniel Rochester left Maryland for New York, traveling in his caravan were his wife and his children and 10 black Israelite people.
And that's just the number he gave you.
Right.
All right. But just know he came here with Hebrew Israelite slaves to the north. Okay?
It says
because that's one thing that Esau pushed on us is the north, the north. Wait a minute, but the conditions of the north were heinous.
Right.
You know?
It says his children and 10 so-called black people whom he held in slavery. The legacy of the white travelers has long seemed secure, while the so-called black people, some of them are possibly emancipated, others certainly not, have been forgotten. The most recent round of protests over the treatment of black people in America, though, has led communities across the country to grapple not only with the racial implications of modern practices and policies, but also with the role of slavery in their past, and in the iconography,
yep,
the water of the streets, schools, parks, and monuments. Rochester is no different.
Rochester is no different from other slave states. Can we get Habakkuk? Your shame shall be, or your glory.
And this is a picture of the thing. Rochester here, right there by the bridge, the highway. So
remember, you'll show it later.
So like it.
You start at 12.
Yeah.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. Woe unto him that builded a town with blood and established a city by iniquity. Behold, is it not of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity? For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai as the waters cover the sea. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, and that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness.
Now he did that literally and spiritually. He actually got Native Americans drunk, which you have a book right here. Okay? You have a book known as The White Man's Wicked Water. Because before you get into black history per se, you got to go into Native American and Latino history. Okay? But right now we're emphasizing on this. And if the if we get another site, we'll do for the northern, if you will. But, you know, within that, he literally gave and got them drunk to get these lands that he could later use to enslave further Israelites. So he got one tribe of Israelites drunk to later on bring other Israelites to enslave. You see? Keep going.
It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness.
And he got us drunken with being a Negro. He got you drunk being a Methodist. He got you drunk being a Christian. And then you became naked because you didn't have Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Your heritage was gone. You know, you were completely through. You know, and then now fast forward, you have our people drive by and have no idea, no idea, because it worked on a portions of our people. It actually worked. You see?
2/3.
Yep.
Thou art filled with shame for glory.
Yep.
Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory.
Now that's the point. Now you didn't read 12 yet, right? Okay. Well, can you read it again? We're gonna read a little more, but I want you to read that again. Okay. Because we're gonna emphasize with that, not only in America, but this city we're in. You see? And his wickedness is so great that instead of just saying America, you could pick a state. You could pick a town. Right. You could pick a time in history. Yeah. You know? So let's read a little bit more of this.
It said the land that will become Western New York was purchased by slave owners.
Say that again.
It says was purchased by slave owners.
No, the land of what?
Okay, it said the land that will become Western New York.
Upstate New York. Western New York. Ithaca, Albany,
Southern Till, Corning.
See?
Rochester,
Buffalo, Syracuse. All these places, all right, were slave friendly. New York, I'm going to keep saying it, New York was first a slave state. You didn't have New York and it was just freedom. Right. It was literally a slave state. And then they said, well, 1799, you're not a slave if you're born after this date. But before that, you're a slave. Keep going.
And it says, was purchased by slave owners from slave owners and developed in part with slave labor.
Hebrew Israelite slave labor.
Right.
Hebrew Israelite slave labor developed what you know as New York. Okay? Hebrew Israelite slave labor is how you got developed upstate New York.
It's going to say it.
Okay.
It says, without the labor of enslaved Hebrew Israelite people,
Without the curses that was put on the Israelites, America wouldn't be America today. Without the curses of Deuteronomy 28, America would not be America today. Let's keep going.
it says, without the labor of enslaved so-called black people, the
Hebrew Israelites.
it says the Rochester area would not exist as we know it.
Where are we? What city are we in, brothers?
Rochester, New York.
So what did it say again? You can
says-
read it verbatim.
Okay, it says, without the labor of enslaved black people,
Without the curses of Deuteronomy 28, what?
the Rochester area would not exist as we know it today.
Man. And then look, and that proves we get the curses, because here it is. This place wouldn't be without us, right? But then you go drive down. Is Israelites in nice neighborhoods? No, you know what they are? They're in the back. Just like if you go down Daniel Penfield, New York is named after Daniel Penfield, who was a slave owner. And guess where he put his slaves? In the back, in a shed. Okay? Just like right here, look behind me. You see this big, nice built church, the nice bricks and glass and foundation. Then look at that rickety old little shed. That's where Jake was at. But they were in the big house. But Jake was right there. Cold. Look, though, you brothers can see it's the wood is faded. You know, animals could get in there. Imagine in the wintertime. Imagine in the rain. But then you'd have to get up in the morning, crack of dawn without getting a good night's rest, good night's sleep, eat, and take your butt in the field and work.
Yeah. And it says,
Right here in New York. Might I add, this we see what we're bringing out through the Spirit is the slavery in America, not the South, because they like to kind of box it.
yeah,
You know, and don't forget we haven't yet to get on Manifest Destiny. What was going on in the West Coast? This is just East. We didn't even talk about what's happening on the where Spain was, and you know,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Keep reading, please.
And it says, the most prominent of these men was Nathaniel Rochester.
We're Rochester, New York, and I'm going to say and let it be known, us three brothers, one did not know each other before this, and we came from other places. But the Lord raised the spirit and Tawadi Abash Mashai, like other men. Okay, we're young men, but as other men, even before us, raised us up and linked us all together in the same city where was the first station for the Underground Railroad. The same city that was built off slavery, the same city where Malcolm X came and gave his last speech and died 5 days later. There's a lot of historic landmarks in this area, you know?
Cornhill, Clarissa Street.
Yep, Clarissa Street, yep.
And it says, was Nathaniel Rochester, whose wealth and position in Hagerstown, Maryland, derived in large part from work done by the black people, Israelites, who he bought and sold.
So the founder of Rochester was a slave owner. So before people start talking any crap, just know the city you're on is named after a slave owner. Okay? An Edomite slave owner is the land we're in Rochester. And today, Rochester is worse than Chicago in crime, you know, in black on black crime. That's curses. The poverty, the black on black, the brown on black, those are curses as well. But we're emphasizing on the curses that affected us that involved Esau. And you had something you want to say, brother?
Yep. Right here, it says a bill showing the amount due by January 1st, 1827 from Josiah Sheldon to Nathaniel Rochester for the use of his slaves.
Now, I want to say something. Yep, you show them, and we'll show it later. Yep, we'll show them later. Now, I want to say something. Now, Josiah was the last slave that Nathaniel Rochester bought. And the name Josiah means God has helped. So that was the Most High showing he's helping us, because that was the last slave he could get. And remember, Josiah was a righteous Judite king that the Lord told in 2 Kings 22 that, you know, he ain't going to judge him like these wicked other kings. So Josiah was a righteous man. So that's an omen. The last Israelite that Edomite bought in the city we're in, his biblical name means God has helped, and he did help us, and he is helping us.
God is healed.
God is healed, right. Got the water, God is healed. You see? He healed us from that rigorous, because not for nothing, Esau legally, he can't just go out and rape, or kill you. He can, but he's got law to face now. Back then he didn't have to worry about that. But this is showing you that there's actually receipts. There's paper trails, because they tried whitewashing Nathaniel Rochester's history. The real history is he was a slave owner. He embraced it. He enjoyed it. He was for it. And he bought slaves all the way up to the last minutes before they finally abolished it in New York State.
Covetous.
So let's keep reading about the history. See, and I'm saying this, first and foremost, on ourselves, we should know history in the states and cities we're prophesizing in. We have been prophesizing in the city of Rochester for about half a decade now through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, and the Lord has poured out a spirit to go out to historical landmarks that the city you're in and bring out further. Because the scriptures we've read countless times out in the street. Now today we're in a byword doing a GMS Church on location documentary, if you will, of an exact landmark in wood scriptures about Esau Edom in the city. So, this is something that is edifying for the church, in the cities you're in. Find historical landmarks, and where did I get that from? The elder apostles. I heard them say that, and through the Spirit, Yahweh Shem Shai gave us, the ability to do so. You see? Keep going.
And it says that prestige helped him form a business alliance with other wealthy Marylanders, who also owned enslaved people, Israelites, to purchase the land on which our homes stand today. And it says,
so he was able to, the money that he used to purchase this land from a man by the name, he was leagued with a man of the name of Carroll and like Pittshu or whatever. But that money that they got, it wasn't from gambling. It wasn't, it was from owning slaves. It was from profiting off of our backs. And then he came here to further extend more land for more slaves to get more money off backs of Israelite slaves. Rochester is one of them.
Men and women and children.
Yep.
And it says the recent defacing of Rochester's statue on South Avenue reflects how his reputation has been tarnished over time.
There you go. And we're going to show that as well. We're going to show you those pictures.
Wow.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yep.
It says, we speak these people's names every day.
Yep. We speak, Psalms 49 and 11, real quick.
Yep. It says,
we speak these names these Edomite slave owner names every day. Yep.
It says, Fitzhugh Street.
This is an Edomite slave owner.
Charles Carroll Park.
Carroll Park. That's right down here. Carroll worked for a rich, so-called Scottish banker who had plantations in West India. But his worker was here buying land for more slave plantations. Keep going.
It says Hopkins Park.
Hopkins, another slave owner.
Williams. Mount Morris. Putneyville.
Putneyville, yep. Gates, New York. Gates, New York is named after a slave owner. Okay, keep going.
Henrietta
is named after a slave owner's daughter. All right.
It says Penfield.
Daniel Penfield, which real quick, where's the folder? Penfield was another station that our people had to go to, escaping the harsh slavery.
Escaping Esau demonic.
Right here, where is it? Look at this. Right here. Mr. and Mrs. Ard Weeks, Penfield, New York. Who?
It says Penfield.
Penfield. So that land, that station, was named after a slave owner. That land, Penfield, right there. We know Penfield.
Yeah.
We know Penfield. You gonna say something, brother?
And it says, the last one says Rochester.
Rochester. And now can you read that, Psalms?
Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
They call their what?
They call their lands after their own names.
I call this Jamestown. I call this Rochester. I call this Penfield. But you did it through blood, wickedness, and deceit. Can you get that? The two scriptures. I know we got it, but again, Habakkuk 2 and 12, and then Sirach is at 10 and 8 through unrighteous decrees.
Done by deceit.
Yep.
I'll get that, Sirach.
Yep. Because it's not. It did. Was Rochester established by righteousness or deceit?
Deceit.
It deceit. Because even before Southern persecution, Northern, you got this land from Gad. But I'm a Northern Native American. Okay, so my people, Onondaga Beaver Clan from the Haudenosaunee people, the people of the hills. What hills? These hills you see here today, Letchworth Park. Okay, that's our people. And now he turned it into a state park that you can go camp at. Now you can just walk down the street. This land we're on, you had Native Americans here. Then he murdered, raped, killed, got them drunk, stole it. Then he came and brought more tribes to murder, rape, steal, and kill.
It's easy, man.
Can we read Habakkuk 2 first?
Habakkuk 2 and 12. Woe to him that builded a town with blood and established a city by iniquity.
Yeah, he built the town, okay, of New York by killing Gad, and so on.
By murdering Gad.
By murdering Gad, he built the town, but the city didn't get established until what?
It says, woe to him that builded a town with blood
and then
established a city by iniquity.
So he built this town, got this land from blood, and then he established that city by the iniquity of slaves. He established Rochester, all right, by slaves, because at one point it was just called New York. Because of who? Britain. New York. But then they came in and established territories within. That's why you have cities today. Because at one point it was just a land mass. All right? But then he established the city of Rochester by iniquity through what? Now read this.
It's the book of Sirach 10 and verse 8.
This is history.
Sirach 10 and verse 8. And it says, because of unrighteous dealings.
Yep. Getting them drunk. Lying to the Native Americans. All right? Invading their villages. Right?
Slaughtering them, trying to extinct them.
Yep.
Trying to wipe them out.
And wipe out their livestock.
Yep.
Oh, you eat buffalo? Let's kill them. Let's take the pelts. And then when winter comes, let's put smallpox in them to completely get them out.
And don't forget the what's that shit called? The gauntlet gun, the dragon's breath.
Yep. Which that was more north.
Okay.
Western.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With the manifest destiny.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
but the Civil War, you're right though. With the Civil War, the cannons, the guns, the muskets, so you can't forget his blessing, because he wasn't just walking through, and he was by force,
right?
Guns, whips, and numbers.
It says injuries and riches got by deceit.
Yep.
The kingdom is translated from one people to another,
and that's exactly what happened to not only establish America, but cities, states within America. Okay, and you can't talk about America's history without talking about Hebrew Israelites. Right. You can't talk about world history without talking about Hebrew Israelites. The Egyptians, the Persians, the Medes, the Babylonians, the Syrians, who else? The Greeks, the Romans, British, all right, Europe, America, Spaniards. All of us are tied within that. Okay? You got something, brother?
Yep.
Okay.
This is Daniel chapter 9 and verse 11. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him.
Yep.
And he had confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil, for unto the whole heaven had not been done as had been done upon Jerusalem.
And I want to say this, when you read the Valley of the Dry Bones, that took place here. So the Valley of Dry, they were made dry because of the slavery. But then the breath came because of prophecy. So you can say, we know why slavery let up. It was prophecy, okay? Slavery was let up because of prophecy, but Esau being Edom furthered the oppression, trying to stop prophecy. You see?
And it keeps going on. It says,
we'll call it out to him.
Yep.
What you're reading?
This is the
Democrat Chronicle.
Democrat Chronicle.
So this is actually a news. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is a newspaper, and guess what? We didn't even know when we would teach downtown. It was right across the street from this same newspaper. But we used wisdom and did what? We moved. Because we're not trying to draw any unnecessary attention. But look at how the same street where we prophesize on is the same newspaper that is bringing this information out.
And it says, it says the city's earliest chronicles sought to whitewash the founders' involvement in slavery.
They wanted to lie. They wanted to lie, and so everything we just said, they would have said, no, that's a lie.
It's a theory.
And
Right.
thank you. I was just gonna say, no, that's a theory. So what are you, brother? You're a conspiracy theorist on the relationship that your people have had in America.
Well, that's a conspiracy right there.
Yep.
They came together, they agreed together to what? Whitewash system.
Yep. Oh, you want to get that? Psalms 83? You know?
And it says, for instance, they created the narrative contradicted by historical records that Nathaniel Rochester moved to the north specifically because, quote unquote, he could not bear the thought of hearing his family amid its demoralizing influences.
That's a lie. So they always try to paint Esau like a hero. He left because his family, and no, he left to further the slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
He left to further making money off the backs of Hebrew Israelites. Okay? He didn't leave because he's turning a new leaf.
Mm-hmm.
You see? This proves that what's that? Is it John 8? Either 4. He's a liar.
Yep. 8:44.
Yeah, let's get that. John 8 and 44.
I'll get that for you.
Brother, are you in John?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, read that, please.
This is John chapter 8 and verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do.
Now, real quick, I want to say, Yahweh Shai was saying this to wicked Hebrew Israelites that didn't believe in the prophecy of him being our savior. But now today, let's just focus not even today. Let's focus back then. You had actual, look at Django. You had actually so-called black men that were hunting other black men down.
Yep.
Remember? He said, he basically, the position he put Django as, he said, our people, that's the worst thing you could be. A slaver to your own people. You see, so Esau had so-called blacks and browns. He had them a part of his lynchings and mobbings and murderings and robbings to help get Jake.
Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do.
Yep.
He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own,
Yep.
for he is a liar and the father of it.
So this is why they were whitewashing about the history of Rochester, because they're fathers of lies. They're vessels of dishonor.
He's also a forger of lies.
See, he's a forger, so he created stories, right? Narratives to further his the Satan has transformed himself to an angel of light.
Right.
And it says,
Nathaniel Rochester is not an angel of light.
Yeah.
Okay, he's Satan.
He's a demon of darkness. It says, as Judge Charles E. Fitch put it during a speech for the city's semi-centennial in 1884.
Yeah, so they had a judge lie and big up Nathaniel Rochester, which that's not the case, because the brother showed you an actual receipt of him his last slave when it was legal at that time.
And it says,